I'm unstoppable, forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper. So hot you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff, then I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest, it be looking like magic, better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone, I'm bad to the bone. Eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long, pop the clutch, I don't pump the brakes. I know what it takes to gain the muscle, get rugged. These butterfingers be fumbling, squash the scrimmage and rub it in Robitussin. How I give them concussion, they see in double, they rushing and pass the shovel, the dirt and rubble, I bury them under it. Stay in your huddle and get 10 yards back, never turn your back. I'ma pull your flag, I go full contact, out punch, out kick like a shotgun blast on one out snap. It's a fact that I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, calling audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the...
We're back with another episode of Post Your Mob Podcast. And what's going on, guys? How you guys feeling since Sunday? I'm not feeling too well, but I did expect us to lose, so I'm not, not too disgruntled or frustrated. I am frustrated, but I'm not too mad about the game because I expect us to lose. So how y'all feeling?
I'm not feeling too great. Like, I need to stop looking at all of the comments and all of the retweets. I really need to do myself that favor and stop looking at that, because boy, that gets me hyped up every single time, man.
And if you guys notice, we have a new member that we added to the podcast, and his name is Ryan Van Dever. We announced a couple of days ago that he's going to be the fourth member of our podcast, and he's a welcome addition to the squad. So let's welcome to the show officially. Welcome to the show, man. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And how you feeling, Mr. Austin AC?
I mean, okay. Like, the game didn't go great. We didn't play great. We had a lot of mistakes I will get into, but just generally I feel good.
I think you're always feeling good. I think, as long as you got, you're living, you're good. I don't think anything bothers you or waver you from what you deem that are good and not impact your life. So, and hopefully the coach don't impact you like it impacts everybody else, because everybody want to quit. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into the game yet. I'm gonna go ahead and address, or let's go ahead and talk about Fan Battle Sports. That is our website where you can find all our podcasts, you can find our merch, you can find the articles that I'll be writing pretty soon. I know I say that every episode, but I'm gonna get to it. It's just that sometimes time don't permit me to do it, but I will get to it, and you guys can see all the wonderful articles that I put together. You guys can support it. So yeah, check us out on www.fanbattlesports.com, where you can find everything Colts related. Forget about the other teams that are sucking our division, because you only care about the Colts, and we're the only team that's meaningful and that you can care about. So yes, check us out on that. And we'll get into these comments before we get into anything necessary with the Colts, and that is Sean said, "Hey guys, as always, welcome to see you in the comments." Referees, they didn't help. Yeah, as always, like that. It's always a game with the Colts that the referees always decide whether we win or lose. Even though we played against a team that was like 91 or 81, whatever the record were, just let the team that was the underdogs play, and they didn't do that. They impacted the game, made it boring for us to watch. And Teresa, she said, "Good evening, fellas. Good to have you, Ryan." Yes, thank you, Teresa. He's going to be a welcome addition, and he have a lot of takes from about the Colts and any other sports. Even though he's been trolling about the Bama, but we'll let that slide. I won't say too much about it. But we're gonna go ahead and get the name of the name of the show is who's responsible for this loss. A lot of people blame the quarterback. A lot of people blame the receivers. A lot of people blame the defense. A lot of people blame Chris Ballard, and a lot of people blame the refs. Who do you blame? This is for everybody, on the show, people in the comments. Who is responsible for this loss? Like I said, people blame the quarterback, they blame the coaching, they blame the GM, they blame referees, and the players that are on the field, like the receivers and the tight ends. Well, who is responsible for this loss? Go ahead, Austin.
For me, at the top of my head, I'm thinking the O line because they were just awful. And then when we would have a big play, it'd be called back because of holding or whatever, and they didn't pass or run block well.
Yeah.
So I say O line.
I think Ryan got a different one.
See, I'm gonna give a little bit. I'm gonna get a little expansive here. Okay, so I'm going to say Chris Ballard to begin with because he's the one that put this team on the field. All right, he's the one that assembled this team, and you can start with your tight ends: Kylan Granson, Drew Ogletree. Massively disappointing. Okay, Will Mallory. I'm not including you into this because you were injured. Okay, we understand. We get all that. And then you move to the offensive line. Big Q, you had the worst game of your career. But I'm not going to give you the full blame because on both sides you had two rookies starting. One, an undrafted rookie who shouldn't have even been on the field, but Chris Ballard decided, hey, let's go ahead and have some depth at our offensive line position. But they're going to be rookies. So that's his fault on that. Anthony Richardson, I'm not going to fully blame you because you are progressing week by week. And unless you are watching the box score, you can completely see how well he's doing. And his footwork, just to begin with, how much that's improved over just a month span. Shane Steichen, your playing calling has gotten worse. You are a self-professed offensive guru, and you came into this game, and I'll give a lot of these passes that Anthony Richardson was throwing, they're really good. But for you not to be able to figure out how to get Jonathan Taylor, to get him breakout runs, that's a problem. You had 30, I think it was 32 yards rushing. So it goes up. There's top to the bottom. All right. And that's really how I feel about it. There's not one group in particular that is to blame. The offensive line, yes, you don't want defensive linemen sitting in Anthony Richardson's lap every single play. That's obvious. But top to bottom, everybody's to blame.
Oh, well said, fellas. I mean, like I said, it's a list of people that you could blame for this loss. Even like I said, despite us, most of us got us losing, and despite the world having us losing, we was underdogs, and rightfully so. They have a good team with a lot of weapons, especially with the running backs and also the receivers. We let Tim Patrick. I think he was injury prone for the past couple of seasons. We let him cook us in the middle as a slot receiver. He did a good job with that as well. But like I said, on our end, nothing can go right. Anytime that we could have possibly had momentum, it was taken away from a penalty. It was taken away from drops, and it was just unfortunate that those things happened to where it set us back. Even just being down at halftime, I think about 8 points. I think we was down 8 points at halftime, and then it just can never get anything going in the rest of the game. We only scored 6 points. That should tell you right there. But I mean, it's very frustrating when you don't put a game, you don't put a full game together as we did last week against. I guess you win against a 3-win team, but nevertheless they put a game together last week to perform, and then come this week at home in front of all your fans and alumni, and you went to bed, and it was just disappointing. But hopefully they get that shit panned out. Excuse my language. Get that shit panned out, fixed up, and before you get to go to Foxborough next weekend, it's cold weather. It gets a rivalry that nobody likes, especially West. But another thing that we're going to talk about is our backup center, our rookie Tanner. We got news. It was yesterday that he was placed in a concussion protocol, which is it sucks because we already down one of our centers and Ryan Kelly. So now we're down to our third center. I think it said could be Dana Penner. Can be moved up to that slot to take over to be the third center and this year to play this year. So that's we're very, very thin on the offensive line. And our GM has been the guy that's loved the depth, the word depth, and what we're dealing with right now is it any depth anymore? Because we just keep plugging guys in the O line, and you're blaming your quarterback for it. The team being inconsistent, but your O line has just been by far been inconsistent. But what you think about Tanner being out or potentially be out Sunday, and where we go next for that spot for a center? Go ahead, Ryan.
I think this team is right in smack dab middle of a Murphy's Law type scenario right now. What can go wrong will go wrong, and now we have Bartolini that goes down, and Pinter. Haven't heard that name in a while. He's going to be coming into this game, and the last time I watched him play, I turned the television off because it wasn't even watchable. So now we're going to have Big Q who struggled, and we're going to have Bartolini out. We're going to have basically a third string center starting. The only thing that's really going in our favor is the fact that the Patriots don't have a great pass rush. If we were going up against, another team like the Lions, I'd probably be more worried about it. But I'm still worried about it, but not to the depths to where I'm worried for Anthony Richardson's life.
Gotcha. Because they trade Judon to the Falcons.
Yep.
In offseason, so that definitely helps because he was a game worker 2 years ago in Foxborough, and it caused Frank Wright to get fired. So, what's your thing, Austin?
Yeah, obviously we hope Tanner is okay and maybe passes concussion protocol before the game, but that's not very likely. So if we have to roll with Danny Penner, we got to roll with Danny Penner because that's what we got. I just hope Bernard Raymond is back because just to have another starter back on the line after losing one would be big. Not that Matt has been terrible, but he's not what Bernard is. So
yeah, you said having a new left tackle, a new center, a new right guard. That is,
and maybe Glowinski gets in there. I don't know how good he'll be, but he knows the offense, so maybe he'll be better than Tucker because Tucker's had 2 straight bad games.
It couldn't be any worse than Tucker, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned that because we did sign, Matt Glow last week, and it was last week. This week was it? This week? Last week?
Last week.
I think it was before Sunday.
The game, right? So yeah, but they signed him to the practice squad, and he could possibly be in the lineup, Sunday. He's needed, desperately needed because our right guard position been bad for a long time, and we definitely need him because it's a triple effect when you have moving parts on your line. You get, like I said, left tackle, new center, new right guard. So it just makes Brady Smith's job much tougher. It makes our Quinn Nelson, our All-Pro guard, his job more tougher. So you definitely want to have consistency at that position because it's just been having new parts. It just makes the job tougher for the quarterback You know, he's been pressured with 46 times, maybe 40% on 40%, 46% on Sunday against the Lions. And they know that, you know, every team is going to do that. They're going to continue to pressure him because he is a young quarterback. He only had about 10 starts in 2 years with this team. He's still developing and learning that position because he don't have a lot of experience. So teams are going to do that. They're going to throw everything at this guy to make sure that he's, you know, nervous or jittery in their pocket. Like I said, Ryan said he showed good footwork, but when you have a line as depleted as ours, team's going to continue to apply that pressure to him. Luckily, he hadn't been sacked on Sunday because he's able to move out the pocket with his leg. He's actually got more rushing yards than JT on Sunday, which you don't want to see that. But I mean, if that's what we got to do to get the offense going, then so be it.
I mean, in reality, Jonathan Taylor would have had more rushing yards, you know, if it wasn't for that 21-yard rushing play that was came back from penalty. I mean, you know, step on your toes plenty of times. Why not?
Yeah, it's just, oh, look who's there.
Oh, boy.
How's it going?
It is. We're glad to have you back, man. We were talking about the impact of losing Tanner and who we got on the line so far, which Danny Penner will be our new center, along with Tucker and having hopefully get Bernard back.
Nice.
So what's your take on that?
You know what? Everything is going as planned. We are doing just enough. Doing just enough to get Chris Ballard. So to me, like everything is tracking on this. Anthony Richardson still looks good. Growing and the Colts are not doing enough to make the playoffs, and that's all I ask for. Because surely I'm ready to do whatever it takes to secure that firing of Chris Ballard on that last week.
I understand how you feel about Chris Ballard. Hey guys, this is Harish. He's
You're pessimistic Colts fan here. How's it going?
I would ask you how you doing, but you already told us when you came in. And so how you feel about that. But yeah, I mean, you know, we got a new center coming in and another injury that we got that could possibly hurt us as well. And that's Josh Downs suffering a shoulder injury on Sunday. I think he did continue to play, but they said they could be missing some time. Definitely another tough blow that we're having on our offense because he's having a great season to that point, and to possibly lose him, could be damaging for our offense when you have a guy like him who's definitely a great route runner and he does a lot for this offense, and to possibly lose him moving forward with next couple games left, they're all winnable games. Definitely going to hurt us. If anybody want to touch on that, you know, his impact and losing him, I let Harish go since he's just coming in.
Man, it's tough, man. Josh Downs he's probably the best wide receiver on this team. No, not probably. He is the best wide receiver. And lose a guy like him at the impact that he has, it's tough because now you have guys that can do things, but you don't have that one. You don't have a guy that can go out and be the guy that you need him to be, and I think that's what Josh Downs has turned out to be. He's turned out to be the guy for this wide receiving core, and everybody else just kind of has pieces of receiver. But yeah, that's a big blow to this wide receiver core, and it's really turned into a safety net for Anthony Richardson, tight ends on the team. Which Teresa has pointed out, like the quality of the tight end position in this team is borderline embarrassing.
It's bad. It's bad.
It's really bad. So yeah, it's a big blow to this.
But when you lose a guy like Josh Downs who's been consistent in the offense, it's definitely tough. We have to go back to the drawing board and you know, it's going to be more AD Mitchell going forward, which I know a lot of us want to see. He definitely had, you know, good game 2 weeks ago. Last week he didn't have Sunday he didn't have a good game, but he didn't have the targets either. I think, you know, our best receiver Sunday was Michael Pittman. Everybody else was just kind of like, you know, they were there. We just got to find. We have to find a fine balance of getting all the receivers going, not just. Well, this week is going to be Josh Down. Next week is going to be Michael Pittman. Next week is going to be Alec Pierce. The week after that is going to be Eddie Mitchell. And then it might be Ashton Dulin. We got to get everybody involved. The way that there's Sunday you want to see a team stacked up on and try to stop Michael Pittman, and the other guys don't show up. That's going to definitely make our offense one-dimensional. But we have to get that going. Anybody else want to touch on losing Josh Downs? You can go ahead, Austin. And Ryan, if you want to say something, you can.
I mean, like losing Josh Downs is obviously a big blow because he has been one of the more consistent bright spots on our offense. I think we have guys that can step up against the Patriots, but hopefully he won't be out longer than that because we'll be on bye the next week, so we'll have 2 weeks to recover. And they say it's not like a serious injury, so it's obviously a big blow, but hopefully it won't be too bad.
What was it? Did he have an MRI? Like, what was the diagnosis?
They said it'd just be week to week.
Okay.
So that's what they said. Just be week to week. So, anything, Ryan? Anything you want to touch on? Or?
I think the biggest thing to talk about with Josh Downs is he's been the most productive wide receiver on the Colts. And with the inability for the Colts to drum up anything successful for any tight end on the roster and the lackluster talent that is on the roster in the tight end position, it's all going to turn to Michael Pittman. I also saw some rumors today that I laughed about because apparently these news outlets that are writing these articles don't realize what kind of general manager the Colts have in Chris Ballard, talking about bringing in Michael Thomas. That's not going to happen. Yeah, yes, he is a free agent.
Real?
Yes.
No, I'm saying he's a free agent, but I hope that's fake. But yeah.
I would actually be online with what Chris Ballard would do. He would bring in an old, aging wide receiver who hasn't done anything in 18 years to be a replacement. So actually, if Chris Ballard did do that, it wouldn't shock me because it's somebody that's out of his prime, completely useless, and just like another space on the roster. So yeah, it would not shock me if that actually.
I don't want that.
If Josh Downs was going to be out for like the rest of the year, I could see something like that happening. But this is what is called a bold move in this profession, and every Colts fan knows Chris Ballard does nothing bold. I don't think he puts Tabasco in his coffee or anything like that. He wakes up in the morning, just has his cup of joe, and goes on with his day and wonders, how can I piss off every Colts fan in the world today? And he does that in turn. So Josh Downs, Michael Pittman had probably his best game that I've seen so far this season, production-wise, but he's battling through injuries as well. I don't know. I think this is going to hurt more than people realize because without the tight end production and then with our offensive line, how bad they're playing right now. So we don't have a run game unless we're running Anthony Richardson on quarterback draws. The production is just going to go down even further. And I'm not sure how we're going to be able to be successful with Josh Downs out, even though he is week to week. But, by all reports I've seen, he's definitely going to miss this game. So it's going to be interesting to see what Shane Steichen can drum up with this offense.
If anything, if you're going to sign a receiver that's on free agent, I'm not sure these guys are all free agents, but if you're going to sign a guy with the same type of production that Josh Downs can bring, I will go get Paris Campbell or Zach Pascal. Those guys, I won't get no guy like Michael Thomas. We got those guys already. We got that's Michael Pittman, that's Alec Pierce. You don't need the same guy that does the same thing. You need a guy that's a slot receiver, and Paris Campbell and Zach Pascal can play in a slot. And those guys being in your offense, being on your team. What you say, Harris?
Is Paris Campbell still?
I think he's a free agent.
I think he's on the Eagles.
I think they cut him.
Did
I
they?
can double
Yeah,
check that.
they cut him.
Yeah, they cut him. I think I can take a look at that just to make sure that But I would go get him. You know, he's only going to be. He might get resign. I guess they brought him back. They brought him back.
Ballard's digging deep into his grave anyway. He's bringing him
um, yeah, that's definitely tough to lose him, and hopefully we can get him back as soon as possible, especially if we try and get him a run. Our next topic would be stats do not tell the whole story, and I'm speaking regarding our quarterback who finished the game with 11 for 28 and 172 yards, no touchdowns. But everybody's complaining and saying that he's the reason why we lost because he can't. His completion percentage is what I would say, because that's been the story for the past couple of days, is they can't complete shit, but they blame everything is on him. So that's why I say stats do not tell the story. And Ryan, since I know you had a lot to say and you had the video you put out yesterday, let's go ahead and go with that. Go ahead and go with what you're saying before we move to the other guys and have their viewpoint.
Okay, so let's do the box score like everybody on social media decides to do. 11 for 28. Did you count the times he had to throw the ball away because he had constant pressure in his lap? No, you didn't count that. Okay, how about the times wide receivers and tight ends dropped the ball? You didn't count that? No? Okay. How about the times that he was actually going out of his way to avoid the rush in order to complete a pass, right? The 11 for 28 is meant for people at other sports media companies to glaze over and just stare upon because they aren't watching the game. A lot of fans see the box score 11 for 28. They're going to freak out. Oh my gosh, he had a 39% completion percentage. Here we go again. He's such a horrible quarterback. Let's go here. Okay. Indulge me for a minute, guys. So you have a lot of these people on Twitter saying that he shouldn't be an NFL starter. See, he's proven that he shouldn't be an NFL starter. Let me ask all of these people a very specific question, and you can leave your answer in the comments. All right. How is Anthony Richardson not proving to be an NFL starter right now? Do you think that Joe Flacco would do any better? The answer to that is no. He would be a statue and he would get sacked damn near every single play. Like, I don't think people are understanding the difficulties that Anthony Richardson is having to deal with. Like, you have a 40-yard pass. Ashton Tulin can't keep his feet in bounds. You have a wide open touchdown to Drew Ogletree. He drops it, and then the next, you walk away with a field goal, and then you're constantly getting rushed by Aleem McNeil because Dalton Tucker doesn't know how to be a right guard. You know, it's just crazy how the narrative is constantly the fact that the Colts do not have a quarterback. They need to let go of Anthony Richardson. He's 22 years old, guys. And the fact that I can see him constantly growing, constantly progressing within the offense should tell you that the future is going to be bright, but you're not going to have a bright game if you constantly are shooting yourselves in the foot with penalties on big plays. You know, whether it comes from Anthony Richardson, whether it comes from Jonathan Taylor, or your wide receivers catching the ball and then getting that 20-yard penalty on it. Like, you're not going to win with any quarterback in the league when you are having these miscues.
I agree. Go ahead, Austin.
I mean, yeah, anybody that's saying this game's on AR or AR had a bad game, whatever, just didn't watch the game. Like, if you watched the game, you would actually see he was playing really good. And honestly, we could have won this game if it wasn't for all the penalties that we had. He would have had about 100 more yards just based off the plays that we ran that got called back. But people won't look at that because they just see 11 for 28. And like he said, like, oh, he can't be an NFL quarterback. He's just so bad. But like it just that really gets on my nerves. Like if you're gonna talk about it, just watch the game so you actually know what you're talking about.
I mean, he's going to have a bad game. We expect that. But when you
Yes.
have a game like we see on Sunday, where the guy was having a great first quarter, and then even some parts of the second quarter where again chunk plays that were there that was caught, especially by Alec Pierce, and the one that Josh Down had where I think it was a pick play. They called a pass interference. It called a hold. It was a lot of things that happened to where you see the numbers that look like, oh shit, he played bad. He had 11 for 28. You're not watching, like I said, like what you guys saying. You're not watching the game. You're just seeing. You just went on Google or you went on ESPN and say, "Hey, this guy trash. We got to go. He got to move." Yeah, he did miss some targets, but that's not. That's normal for him because he's still developing. And like you said on the clip, as frequently if you're doing deep shots, he's going to miss on those targets. He had one with Alec Pierce and it barely touched his hand. Like it happens. You're not going to hit on every deep throw. So I mean, fans are sitting here just seeing 11-28. Man, this guy, we need another quarterback. Go back to Flacco. Flacco sat there and got our ass whooped every game he was in, except one we won a game. The other three he played, he lost. So I mean, I'd rather have this guy in this lineup and at least know that he can progress. I'm sorry, Harish. Go ahead.
I pulled out some stats here because for some reason I had PFF. Not really to ask questions. Oh, wait, I think I bought it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I hate PFF grades, Ryan. You probably don't know this about me. I hate PFF. I think they're completely useless. Their grades don't make any sense. But there are some stats that we can pull from PFF that are very interesting. So, in this game last week, Colts wide receivers accounted for 15% of the drops. In the completion that are factored into Anthony Richardson's completion percentage. Basically, what that means is if Colts receivers do not drop the ball, there's potential for his completion percentage to go up by 15%, just on drops from the wide receivers. The offensive line had 8 penalties. 8. Quentin Nelson had 3 of those. Obviously, you had 2 by the wide receivers, right? You had the pick play, which Josh already talked about, and then wasn't there like a hold or something weird late in the game? That was a stupid thing. So it all goes to show that the completion, like you look at that number because it's the most obvious number that the casual fan can pull out of, and the 4-letter words and the all these like national media hosts that get really bored. They need something to talk about. I like to call these things boredom posts. Like they're just bored. There's nothing else to talk about. So they have to talk about a completion percentage for a 20-year-old. Listen, I thought honestly, that first half, Anthony Richardson, I thought he was phenomenal. I think he did everything he needed to do in order to put the Colts. Colts should have put up 14 points in the red zone. On those, they should have scored on the first 2 drives, and just this team continues like now. It's again it's what I talked about last week. There has not been a game where everything just clicks for this team. There's always something. It's always something, right? It's the defense didn't play well, or it's the offensive line, forgot to do something, and so they have all these penalties. Or the wide receivers are dropping footballs, or maybe Anthony Richardson is off. There has yet to be one game that this team has played for 60 minutes, and this is week 13. It is absolutely ridiculous that this team cannot put together a complete game beginning. Because in all honesty, if they could, they wouldn't be 5-7. This is probably a 6-2, 7. And so a lot of it is coaching. A lot of this is GM, just not putting the right people on this team and making sure that the right people are in the right places. I still feel like this is just a bunch of guys put together. I don't like a lot of guys are going like, I'm just going off on a rant because I'm on fire right now. But a lot of guys are just like, um, when you know as a fan that your football team is good, like you can feel, man, this team is really good because they're clicking on all cylinders. They like each other. They enjoy being around each other. They work together. They fight for each other. And I just don't feel that chemistry with this team. I just feel like every time they step on the field on offense or on defense, it's just 11 guys that go onto the football field and they hope something happens. And if it does, it's great. And if it doesn't, it's like, well, we're just 11 guys who go on. So it doesn't. So it, it's just the roster construction of this team that pisses me
Yeah,
off the most.
we
Because
definitely know.
never felt like this team.
We definitely know how this roster being what it is, and it's definitely concerning going into year 9 next year. With all season that's we don't it's full of unknowns. We got free agents, guys that are free agents, um, and we need to fill the roster. I mean, and we can't depend on this guy to build his team in going on year 9 because he haven't done it in 8 years. He did draft the guys and he did re-sign the guys that he drafted, but we need more. We need certain players to get us over this hump. We tired of saying the same thing each year in off season. Tired of saying the same thing on these podcasts, saying we didn't do enough in free agency. We didn't do enough on the O line. We didn't do enough on receiver. We didn't do enough on the back end for us the secondary and safety. We didn't do enough in the linebacker. We keep saying this every episode or every season with this guy. He's been doing the same thing. He don't see what we're seeing. He's watching. Clearly he can't be at practice. And if he is, he's selling the team and selling the fans some BS. He's definitely a good ass car salesman because he know how to sell lemons. He know how to sell a bad car with bad engine, a good car with bad engine. And that's what he's been doing, selling good cars with bad engines for 8 years, and we all been buying it as is. And he got to go. And that's just how I feel. I know how some of you guys feel the same way, but he's just been selling this team false dreams and false hopes, and we just got to get rid of him and have a new face and see how this next era are going to be because this guy here is just not it. Like I said, and I'm not the one to just say fire, but that's how it was with Topagano. That's how it was with Ryan Grigson. Now I am with Frank Wright, and now Chris Ballard because those 4 guys was horrible people. You just we had talent on the field that got us by. When you had Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton getting us by for the first 3 years of his career, and then after they just been shitty. So we just we need new faces.
By the way, just another stat out there. Between the interior linemen, they accounted for 16.
Say it again. Yeah.
Quentin Nelson and Dalton. Both of them 8 each. It's absolutely disgusting. Like, all the pressure came through the interior. I think what was that? What was it? The defensive tackle, Aleem, was it Aleem or something like that? The interior defensive line for Detroit. I forget his name, but he was destroying that interior on both ends. Quentin Nelson was out there. Quentin Nelson looked like a rookie. He was terrible. And that guy gets paid like $100 million, and that guy was awful. He's been awful for most of the season, quite honestly. Whether it be penalties, giving up pressures. I don't know what his problem is, but he's been terrible. That is not the expectation I would have for $100 million guard that we spent the number 6 pick. He was absolutely terrible. And honestly, if I was a new GM, I would consider trading him because that guy has nothing.
You're speaking far from the mic, but I think you said we need to get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, you need to trade him like for that amount of money and the value that we've gotten for him since he's been paid. Like it has not paid out. Whether it be injuries, poor play on the field, like Quentin Nelson. Like when you have a guy like Quentin Nelson, the expectation is up here, and the level, and you talk about ROI, like the return of investment on him is not outweighing the amount of money.
I mean, and that brings us to the next topic. You already touched on it already. I let the other guys touch on it. Should we be concerned with Quinn Nelson? Like I said, with the penalties, I think he had 4 penalties Sunday. I think he had a holding and he had illegal hands to the face. It's just unnecessary. I mean, took the whole guy helmet off on Sunday. He says not, I don't know. I forgot what his response was when they asked him, when the media asked him what is going on. I think he just said this, I think he's, he don't really, he's always blunt with his. He just say whatever and then move on. But is there any concerns with him? Is it age or he's just tired of just carrying the offensive line because he's probably the only consistent one on the line that has been hurt for a long period of time? Is it concerning? I think Ryan mentioned yesterday he just having to carry new parts on the team on the offensive line. So what you think, Austin?
Yeah, for me personally, I'm not worried about Quentin Nelson just yet. I think, having 3 other rookies on the line isn't helping him at all. I feel like he's having to do more than he has had to do before. He struggled, but I think he'll be fine. I don't think this is where his career is heading. So for me, I'm not worried about it.
All right. I guess Josh had to step away. Either that or he's on mute.
All right, go ahead, Harish.
Oh no, this is on Ryan. You went
go ahead,
on
Ryan.
mute. Yeah.
I had some fail in my background. And I don't want to say it, but go ahead, Ryan.
Me personally, so a little waiver form here. I'm a Notre Dame fan. All right. Unsubscribe.
No,
to my
you're not.
YouTube channel as much
You
as you
K-State.
want, but
No, you're K-State.
but-
K-State first. You're not a.
yeah,
You're a
You're-
K-State fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I am because they're local, but I'm just saying.
I got
I've been watching Quentin Nelson for a very long time. When he was at Notre Dame, he was a bully. Like nobody could touch him. And, granted schedules and whatnot. And coming into the NFL with the Colts, same way. And you see him this last game. I don't know if it's the fact that he's having to carry the entire offensive line or if it's he doesn't see that there's a lot to play for. I don't know what it is, but he looks a lot softer than he has from when he came into the season. And you can call it whatever it is, but I know what I see. And when it comes to box scores and when it comes to your eyes, there's one thing: your eyes will never lie to you. They will tell you what you see. And right now, I see Quentin Nelson is soft, and something needs to happen. He needs to figure something out because that entire offensive line is going to run off of him because he is the only constant veteran besides Braden Smith, and I haven't been impressed with him either. Like, when this offensive line is fully healthy, it's a top 10 offensive line, and now it's probably a bottom 10 offensive line, and you're not going to get much improvement throughout the season. I mean, we spoke about it earlier with a third string, Danny Pitcher being at center. So I don't know. It's hard to see what is actually going on with Quentin Nelson. Like from time to time, I try to think that maybe he's battling through an injury, but it's never been specified or anything like that. So it's hard to tell what's really going on with him. But that offensive line needs him to step up and toe the line because otherwise, Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, they're just going to get destroyed week in and week out.
Yeah, we definitely want.
He's tracking on pace at this point to be like half of the snap counts that he had basically like any year that he plays. And 2 years ago, he was pretty bad, right? That's the year, the Matt Ryan year where the entire offensive line was bad.
Yeah.
He's tracking to have that type of year. So 2 years ago, he allowed 31 pressures, 20 hurries, allowed 5 sacks and 6 quarterback hits. This year, he's got 15 pressures, 8 hurries, 6 hits already on the quarterback. So he's allowed 6 hits on Anthony Rich on the quarterback this year so far, and 1 sack. So he's pacing with, and he's got 10 penalties, which, by the way, is the most in his career
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
season. And
Yeah,
we're not
man.
even halfway through. We're just a little over.
yeah. I'm gonna go over some comments before we move to the next one. We got Teresa said AR didn't get sacked because he played well. I mean, yeah, it wasn't for his legs. Definitely, he'd be sacked a lot. Rex said Tucker shouldn't be starting the rest of the year. I agree. He definitely played bad. Lavelle said Richardson throw like a drunk unk. I mean, he does throw some. His passes are kind of go with a lot of heat to it. We all know this right here. Gus Bradley got to go. If Shane goes, then so be it. Ready to win. I mean, yeah. Sometimes I feel like Shane is over his head, and he probably don't recognize that or realize it because he tried to do too much, like Frank Wright used to.
If Shane leaves, who would you guys want to replace him?
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson is my number 1. You know who my number 2 would be? This might be an unpopular take.
Mike Vrabel.
Don't say Rex Ryan.
Mike Vrabel would be my number 2.
For real? I was just joking.
I would love Mike Vrabel.
Okay.
I thought Mike Vrabel was great in Tennessee. He just had a stupid front office. If you compare Mike Vrabel with a good GM, he's not a bad coach. He's going to get that defense playing. They won't play like a bunch of little sissies.
We would need a really good OC, but I agree. Our defense would definitely take a step forward.
Yeah, he would need to hire them. I think Mike Vrabel. I think players answer very well to him. I think that's a guy that players rally around. Clearly, the Titans players loved Mike Vrabel, the front office.
I definitely invite Vrabel because I don't want him trading.
We don't need trading. Josh
definitely need that. Hey, we were playing the refs and the refs won. They definitely did.
Yeah, Alec Pierce. Just saying.
Well, let's go ahead and before we get out of here, guys. And we might miss out on some couple other topics that we have, but we're gonna go ahead and address this media beef that that's been going on. A lot of guys. I know y'all have Harish had his opinion. I have mine, and the other 2 guys, y'all have yours. But what y'all think about the beef between our former punter? Oh, okay. So the past couple weeks,
I've been busy.
Pat McAfee has been switching up on his takes between Flacco because he said Flacco gives the Colts the best chance to win, and then when Flacco stunk it up, he said that we should have AR in because AR tapped out against the Texans and he didn't like it, so he kind of went off on not like go off, but he kind of just had a rant about AR. That's why he advocated for Flacco to start. So Flacco stunk it up for 2 games, and he switched back up to AR. And Zaire spoke about that on his podcast, saying that pick a side. You're supposed to be with us. And how can you down this young quarterback, knowing what we knew when they drafted him? And of course, Pat McAfee took kind to it, and he was just like, "This team hated me," and stuff like that. Just been kind of a little salty. And I think yesterday, was it today or yesterday, where he said that we're gonna kind of part ways. He's gonna part ways with the team. He's just gonna stand back and just hope they win. And
Pat McAfee is? Oh, good. Yeah. Maybe he'll get rid of his stupid media takes.
But despite all of that, this is what Zaire had to say about Pat after Pat pretty much went on Twitter and went on his show and said that Zaire was trash at Syracuse and just kind of just went, said that we haven't won division in 10 years. Kind of just went off on Zaire because of what was said on the podcast. But Zaire did respond to media with this.
I got a lot of respect for Pat. I understand exactly who he is to the organization, to our city. And quite frankly, I think, maybe I probably didn't handle it the right way going into it. Now, he said some things about me So, that is what it is. But it's one band, one sound, man. We all a family. We all want the same thing. I think at the end of the day, Pat wants he wants to what's best for us. He wants us to win. He wants something to cheer about. He wants something to go on the show and scream about in a good way. And that's what I want for him. And at the end of the day, me in the locker room, me being the boots on the ground, I want to give our fans, I want to give our alumni something to be proud of and something to continue to cheer for. So there is no back and forth. There is no feud because at the end of the day, we want the same things.
But think about the ratings.
That's what he said on today in his response to what Pat McAfee said. Go
What I
ahead.
want from Zaire Franklin? You know what I want from
This
Zaire
was
Franklin?
so staged.
I want Zaire Franklin to learn how to freaking tackle. That's what I want from Zaire Franklin. I want him and EJ Speed to, like, whatever it takes this week, go in and freaking learn how to tackle. That's what I want from Zaire Franklin. I want them to stop worrying about this dumbass podcast they have, because number one, it sucks. Number two, it's completely useless. Like, dude, we're in the middle of a freaking season and they have the time to really put out a weekly episode. Sitting here at 5-7, missing multiple tackles in a game that's costing points and yards and first downs. That's what I want from Zaire. That's my.
Go ahead.
And Pat
Austin.
McAfee, I need Pat McAfee to separate himself. Like,
Well, he
that's
did.
what I want for him.
That's what he did yesterday.
I hope so. I will like the partnership between him and ESPN have to end, because I think it's taken him down a road that I think it's negatively impacting the fan base viewership. Like, beyond College Game Day, he's got to stop. He's got to figure something, because the things that I've heard from his mouth in the last 4 to 5 weeks, I feel like is partly fed by the 4-letter.
I got you. What's your take on that, Austin?
I mean, they both said what they both said. I think it's best to just, for them both, if they just move on and just Zaire plays good and he watches. Yeah, it is what it is. He said what he said. What he wanted Flacco in. He was wrong. He said he was wrong, and Zaire took up for his teammate. That's pretty much what it was. Yeah, yeah. You want your captains and your team as a whole to back your quarterback, obviously.
I mean, that's what Zaire said in the last year, that he willing to he said die, but he willing to, run it by his quarterback, and so he did. It happened to happen against alumni, but let's stop the overreaction from both players. Both wrong on both parts and right on both parts. It just can't get in your feelings. And if Zaire get in his feelings and play well on the field, well, get in your feelings, man. As long as you know how to tackle, because having on Sunday, Gibbs is fast. I know how Gibbs play. He's talented, same as David Montgomery. But y'all miss a lot of damn tackles. Put that podcast mic down and tackle. I don't give a damn who plays. I don't give a damn who's playing Sunday. Stevenson, whoever it is out there, tackle their ass.
They were all.
So, go ahead, Ryan.
All right, so this Twitter beef, media beef, whatever you want to call it, Pat McAfee was wrong. Zaire Franklin was wrong. But the fact of the matter is, Zaire Franklin came out and wanted to squash things, and Pat McAfee hasn't even acknowledged it. So that shows me how big of a piece of shit Pat McAfee is. Were they both wrong? Yes. But Pat McAfee needs to come out, be a man, and acknowledge Zaire Franklin for what he is. For the past 3 seasons, nobody has more tackles than Zaire Franklin. Now, can he cover when it comes to zone coverage? Absolutely not. EJ Speed, same thing. And that's more of a Chris Ballard issue. But I'm not going to get into that. But really, Pat McAfee wanted Joe Flacco to start. And guess what? Joe Flacco started and everything went downhill. And then McAfee never even backtracked on his takes. Pat McAfee is known for one thing: his hot, crazy takes and his fraternity type atmosphere. So here's the thing: he will say one thing next week, and then something completely opposite the next week, and he never
Ratings.
is held accountable for anything he has to say. So me
Right by
personally,
ESPN, man.
I will say something today that's crazy as hell, and then tomorrow I will never backtrack. I will hold on to that hill for as long as I can. And if I'm wrong, I will say that I'm wrong because as a grown man, that's kind of what you're supposed to do. It's kind of in your title. If you screw up, own it. And McAfee doesn't own a damn thing except that Pat McAfee show. And it just shows his true character. And you want to come out and you want to go back to Zaire Franklin's days at Syracuse and him of being a bad leader. Dog, come on. You were a
That was
punter.
soft.
All right. There was nothing about your leadership. Like Jim Irsay didn't do anything to accomplish like anything in your career. He didn't help you whatsoever. But you want to act like you are the spokesperson of Indianapolis because you have a platform. No. Y'all need to stop that stuff. If you want to squash it, squash it. If you want to keep talking about it, keep talking about it. I don't want anything to do with you when it comes to the Indianapolis Colts because your takes are outlandish, and all season long, all you've done was drum up drama for the Indianapolis Colts. And who knows how big of a distraction it's been in the locker room. And we won't even know that answer.
He's all about the ratings and views. I mean, when the Colts are on, he's saying the Colts are going to win the Super Bowl. When we lose or stink it up, he says how trash we are. Like, I mean, he got so butthurt. He was like, he'll take the Lions by 50 or whatever you said last week prior to the game. That's how butthurt he was. Just got both just separate from the team. You just do your media take and just do your thing. Like I said, he's an entertainer. He does everything. He's podcast. He wrestles or commentates for wrestling. Whatever he does, do that. And I'm gonna support you no matter what. But just don't switch sides. Don't say, hey, Flacco give us a better chance, and then once he stink it up. Then you say, hey, let's put AR in. Was he wrong about his take about AR tapping out? He's not wrong. Nobody's wrong. Everybody that spoke about that was correct. We didn't see that. I never seen a quarterback tap out and say he was tired. And we all know how we feel about that.
Yeah.
And I agree. I mean, we just got to just separate and just move on from the things that was said. They're grown men and suck it up. Hey, play. Zaire need to play better, and Pat McAfee need to shut the fuck up sometimes and move on. And Zaire need to shut up too. Yeah. But real quick, guys, go ahead.
What exactly did Pat say that Zaire got so butthurt?
About he just needs to pick a side. Is he going to be for Indy or he's not? Because they say that he should understand what a quarterback, a young quarterback
goes through. Oh, okay.
Yeah, goes through. And the way he talked about AR after that Texan game, he didn't take kindly to it, and he just took up for his teammate.
Okay. No,
but what do you want your teammate to do? Like, do you want your teammate to defend Anthony Richardson, your franchise quarterback, your young quarterback who obviously at that moment in time was lacking in confidence, or do you want to throw him under the bus and be like the rest of the people in media? No, Pat McAfee was wrong in that situation for attacking Anthony Richardson. I understand he got a hard on for Joe Flacco, and that didn't work out in the end. But either you're with Indianapolis or you're not, and that includes Anthony Richardson. Spent a first-round pick on Anthony Richardson, number 4 pick in the draft. Either you're with him or you're not. Pick your side and quit flip-flopping all the damn time.
Again, he's just media trained at this point, right?
Yeah.
This is why I don't watch his show anymore. That's why I had no idea what you guys were talking about. He was better. Well, he was better when he was just on YouTube. As soon as he hit the big time, college game day, and I only watch him on College Game Day because he doesn't run the show. But I don't watch his own show anymore. Okay? Like that show has become so ridiculous to me. It's like every other show on ESPN and Fox and all these stupid networks. Like I don't watch those. That's
Yeah,
why I had no idea what you're talking about.
well, I mean,
And I don't watch Zaire's podcast because it sucks. And I'm
Yeah,
pissed that he doesn't know how to talk.
it's just been everywhere, man. They just talk about, those guys going back and forth. I didn't know who Zaire was talking about until, because he didn't say no name. He just said media guy. So I assumed it was Pat McAfee until Pat McAfee responded. I'm like, oh, he's talking about Pat McAfee. So Pat McAfee responded in a butthurt manner and brought up the man career, what he did at Syracuse. I don't give a fuck what he did at Syracuse because he wasn't even supposed to be starting for us. He was supposed to be on the special teams. But I mean, Pat McAfee is an entertainer. He's going to say what he want to say out of anger or butthurt, however feeling he was in. And like I said, both party was wrong. Zaire didn't have to get in the podcast in the mid-season and talk about guys doing this and doing that. You should focus on playing. You can defend your guy by playing on the field instead of getting on a podcast with EJ and speak on that. That's what he went wrong about that too. And he spoke on that with the video we just showed. He spoke on that and how he handled it. But we're gonna get out here pretty soon. And before we get out of here, real quick, can the Colts win out starting Sunday? Can the Colts win out and somehow win his next 4 to 5 games and somewhat make a playoffs? But just win out. Can we win out and somewhat do something for a change? Go ahead. Anybody go? Go ahead, Ryan. Real quick.
I mean, really the only team that I think that they will struggle with, defensively is going to be the Denver Broncos because Bo Nix has come on and he has come on strong. By my personal calculations, I think he is leading the rookie of the year race. He's just completely killing it from preseason to where he was just throwing dink and dunk passes to where now he's just launching it down the field. But you have the Patriots. You should be able to beat the Patriots. We got a good pass rush. Leatu Latu is coming on strong over these past couple of weeks. He's applying pressure, and he did it against one of the best offensive tackles in the game over this past week. And I personally think that they can win out. If they don't win out, they'll have one loss. But with the way Anthony Richardson is playing, but once again, if we continue to have these miscues where we're constantly stepping on our toes, where we got these negated plays, we can't have 97 yards taken back in plays in these upcoming games. Otherwise, you're not going to win those games, no matter how well Anthony Richardson or Jonathan Taylor or that defense plays. But another big issue with the Colts defense, and I've seen it week in and week out throughout this entire season, is our linebackers. Yes, they have issues tackling. Sometimes they're good at tackling. Sometimes they are. But one thing they are not good at is covering a tight end to save their damn life. And it has been completely glaring when the Colts go up against a good tight end like Laporta did this past week. Like, we struggled at times. But EJ Speed and Zaire Franklin have never been cover linebackers. So,
Gotcha. What about you, Austin? Can we win out and somewhat make some noise, maybe?
I mean, our schedule is very easy to end the year. Like you said, the only the hardest team we'll play is the Broncos. But I do think we match up pretty well with the Broncos even then. Do I think we can win out? Yeah, I think we definitely can. Do I think we will? I don't know. like he said, it just depends on what team shows up. If we're out here shooting ourselves in the foot, obviously we can't win games in the NFL. But can we? I think yes.
Go ahead, Arish. You got the remainder
Not
of the
only do
schedule.
I think this team can win out, I still think this team can win the division. Like, here's the thing, and it's not based off the fact that I think this team is great because I don't think it's good at all. Like, I think it's a mediocre team. But if you look at how the schedules have lined up, Houston losing 3 out of their last 4 really helped the Colts out. Right? and it really goes to show how much that stinger cost him losing one of those 2 games against the Texans, because they could have
Mhm.
been in prime position to win this division. I do
Yeah.
think the Colts can win out. Now it's gonna get like everybody else says, it's gonna depend. Do the Colts show up, or is it just 22 individual players that show up? Because that's really the question. Because again, this team has yet to put together a full game for 60 minutes. So we are constantly going to go into every week saying, well, Colts, they start off great, or they look poor, or they look great in the middle of the game, or, Joe forgot to do that. Bob forgot to do this. Bill forgot to do that. Zaire forgets how to tackle. And here we are having the same conversation. So it just depends on what. I can't even, like, when you say it depends on what team shows up, that's like saying, yeah, the team is really good, but they're not consistent. To me, it's like it depends on if a team shows up. Um, like that's what it is for me. It's not if the team shows up; it's if the team shows up at all. And if they do, then great. Yeah, I think they have a chance to win out for sure. And not only I think they have a chance to easily win out, but just based on what we've seen for most of the season, I'm not confident. I think they could slip even against like who's to say they don't sleep against the Jaguars again? Like we lost to the freaking Jaguars. Like this team is on pace for a number 1 pick, and we
Yeah.
lost to this team. Like, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we slipped one of these games. Just because this is not a football team. I have zero confidence in the chemistry of this team. So because we have to go to New England, I wouldn't even be shocked if we lost this weekend. To be honest,
It's a
like
possibility.
nothing surprises me anymore with this team, just because of the state that this team plays in. But if they won all 5 games, I wouldn't be surprised. But it just depends on if the team shows up or not.
Go ahead and go with your predictions for next game.
I don't even know what to think about this game. What anybody know anything about the Patriots? Like, is Drake May playing well? Do they?
I think Brissett's still playing. I don't know who plays Sunday. I
think
can't.
it's Drake May.
I think Drake May's playing. Oh yeah, he's
Oh.
been playing.
Yeah,
Hey,
Drake May.
he looks okay.
Yeah, I didn't know who played. I know Brissett was playing, so I don't know if they just switch over.
All I know is if you play like Prize Pick or underdogs or anything like that, I would absolutely make sure you take the over on Hunter Henry passing yards, because he will absolutely eat this linebacking core alive down because they can't cover worth they can't cover nose. So, but yeah, I honestly have no idea what to think about this game. I'm curious to see what you guys think, and I'll kind of go based on it. I'm gonna copy this.
Go ahead, Austin, with your prediction then. I know you
Yeah.
got us winning 30-3.
No, but I do have us winning. We got to get pressure on Drake May. He's a young quarterback. We have the defensive line to do it, and we just got to have a better offensive game plan for the whole game, not just to start the game. But I do think we win. I'll say 27-13, and it's been said every week, but I think this week is the week that AD Mitchell gets his first touchdown.
He getting 2 touchdowns. Go ahead, Ryan.
All right, so for everybody at home, the Colts are favorites by 2.5 points on the road against Patriots. So I personally think that this is going to be a highly entertaining game, meaning the offense for the Colts is going to explode, because when it comes to the Patriots defense, they do not have a lot. They traded away a lot of their capital when it came to the defensive side of the ball. But I have the Colts winning 27-17. I have AD Mitchell getting a touchdown. I think Anthony Richardson is going to have another truck stick touchdown as well. I don't see how the Patriots are going to beat the Colts with the lack of offensive weapons, the defensive players. There's got a massive amounts of holes on on their entire team, and not to mention you got Drake May playing, but you don't really have any weapons on that offense. So, yeah, I got 27-17.
You got to change your mind.
Listen, the one thing I will say is I will take A.D. Mitchell getting a touchdown this week. The same week that Texas plays Texas A&M again, and they go into College Station for the first time in 13 years, and they beat Texas A&M. A.D. Mitchell will get. I think Anthony Richardson. I think this offense finally comes together and puts up a good offensive performance. I don't think the Patriots defense is very good. This is probably the most down both teams have been coming together. It's usually like Colts are okay and the Patriots are really bad, or the Patriots are really good and the Colts are bad. This is the first time in a long time that both teams are really bad, and they both come in with like multiple games under 500. So this is a very different vibe to this rivalry, and I think it's fitting that I'll just take the Colts to win. I'll say like 17-14 because I don't think a lot of points are going to be scored in this game because I don't think either offense is very dynamic. The Colts can be, but they're too inconsistent right now. So I'll take 17-14 Colts. A.D. Mitchell gets a touchdown, and I think Anthony Richardson gets a rushing touchdown.
What you guys failed to mention how the last time we played the same team. Yeah, they did have a front, for us the D line. We played them in Germany and beat them 10-6. It was a low scoring game. But they had Mac Jones. They had Mac
17-14 isn't too far off of that.
Yeah.
It might get ugly like that. Like it might be that type. It is very possible.
We went to Germany and it was just a snooze fest. We had Gardner and they had Mac Jones. Gardner's not there, and so it's not Mac Jones. So they got Drake May, and we have Anthony Richardson. Who knows what type of offense that we employ come Sunday, as well as them. And they got a rookie quarterback. They're 3-9, and we're 5-7. So both teams are on the downwards for us record wise. But I got us winning. I think it's 20-13 or something like that. I got us winning 20-10. Because I don't think Mayo, Gerard Mayo, he's a good coach. Just young. This is the first time being a head coach, and he just figuring this thing out. And just having him being a rookie head coach and having a rookie quarterback as well, I don't think it's the time for them to win this rivalry against us. I think Colts win 20-10, and that's going to be it for the rest of the show. I know Teresa said, always great show, guys. I hope y'all have a happy Thanksgiving, and to all the fans all around the world, Colts fans, whatever fan you are at sports, have a happy Thanksgiving. Have a lot of turkey, and be prepared for a Sunday rivalry versus the Patriots. The one thing that I do agree with when it comes down to Chris Ballard is that he said the rivalry is on. He just forgot about that with his team. But we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here, and we'll be here next Tuesday. Do we have a Monday night game anywhere for us division?
I hope not. This division's
yeah, we don't need any more primetime games because none of our teams can win on primetime.
We know the Texans are fraudulent now, so we don't have to.
Yeah, by the way, they lost to a 2-win team on Sunday, and they were supposed to be projected to be a Super Bowl contender team, and they're not playing like it. They're playing like Alabama did on Saturday against Oklahoma.
I didn't want to say it. Since you want to bring that up, hey, we know another team that likes to play like that. Oh, by the way, let's tack on another win that Texas has against not bad teams that the rest of the Mississippi. We can't relate to any of you guys. Just
I'll let you and Ryan talk about this after the show. But we're gonna get up out here, guys. Y'all have a good one. Have great holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see y'all next Tuesday, hopefully with the victory, because we cannot lose to the Patriots. Somebody always get fired losing to the Patriots. So we're going to get up out of here, guys, and see y'all next week.
That could be Chris Ballard, and this might be a blessing in disguise.
All right, guys.
On one out snap, it's a fact that I'm unstoppable. Forget your D